Hey everyone, NWA Prepper here. So today I'm going to continue in my my fire safety, my fire safety stuff for your homestead, and I'm going to talk about fire extinguishers. Now, to begin with, this is I teach a whole. I teach like an 8-hour class on fire extinguishers. So there's a lot to them. So the basic things are there are several types of fire extinguishers. There's an A, B, or C are the ones that we're going to talk about today. A is normal combustibles, rubber, wood, paper, things like that. B is combustible liquids, gasoline, kitchen grease, anything liquid. And then C is anything energized, anything with electricity running through it. So like a microwave on fire is a class C fire, an electrical panel. So if you kill the power to said device by shutting off the breaker or unplugging it, then it is no longer a class C fire. Now there are other types. There are class D, which are combustible metals, and class K, which are special combustibles, and blah, 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 blah. So they go on and on. But for the most part, we're going to talk about class A and B and C fires. There are some things that tell you on your smoke detectors, on your fire extinguishers, that tell you what they are. This is for a B and a C. And they give you examples. C has the plug-in, and then B has the flammable liquids. So this extinguisher is designed for your kitchen. It's designed for kitchen appliances or a grease fire. So this only has two logos on it, a B or a C. This extinguisher costs about 15 bucks, and it comes with a wall bracket, but I just bought this just to share with you guys. But I want you to see the other common logos. So you can see this one has the same emblems, but then it also has the wastebasket or the campfire. So this extinguisher is an ABC dry powder. This is a 10-pound extinguisher. And then this one, so this little guy here also has 3 logos on it, right? For an A, B, or C extinguisher. You can see them there. Normal combustibles, fabric and trash. This is a little bit different, but it has electric, then your grease fire, and then your electrical stuff. This one is about $15 as well, 12 to 15. This one has a pop top on it. So those are the normal household extinguishers. They hold a dry powder chemical in them that looks a lot like baking flour, a yellow, really fine, a fine flour. Because of that, the way that they work is they don't cool a fire like water does. Because a fire has 4 parts. Heat, fuel, and oxygen make a fire, and they do that through a chemical reaction. And a fire extinguisher, or putting out a fire, is removing one of those 3 things. So water takes away the heat, and then the chemical reaction can't happen. These extinguishers coat the fire and the fuel in that powder, and that powder kind of melts a little bit, and it cuts off the oxygen from the fire. It doesn't cool it. Now there are other types of extinguishers, like a CO2 extinguisher, that cools it and removes the oxygen by pushing it away. But these types are the dry powder extinguishers, and they work by coating the fire. Now, no matter what extinguisher you're going to use, the way to use them is most extinguishers are very similar. First off, you have a gauge and a tag, And you want to make sure that this is in the green. None of that other stuff matters if that's in the green. Now this particular one has a pull pin that you pull, and it will break this little plastic seal, and then you'll push down. The bottom is the handle, the top is the lever to discharge the extinguisher. And these have a little bit of a recoil. They're charged but with nitrogen, so they have a little bit of a kick. So you want to make sure that that gauge is in the green. Right, the gauge is in the green. You want that pin in place because that keeps it from accidentally discharging. And then every now and then I flip it over because it is a fine powder. You don't have to shake it. You just want to do that, and you'll feel it go, well, not now, but you'll feel it go thump, and all that powder will shake up. You want to mount these not where you think the fire is going to be. Don't mount them next to your stove. Don't mount them next to your workbench in your garage. Don't mount them next to the fireplace. You want to mount them on the exit that you're going to be leaving that area. You know, if it's in the kitchen and you've got to go down the hallway, you want to mount it on the wall next to the, you know, the hallway in the kitchen. So you're on your way out of the house. Then you get your extinguisher and you try to put out the fire. And if one extinguisher doesn't work, it's time to leave. Anything that's bigger than anything that's bigger than a school desk fire, it's time to leave. You need to call 911 and get fire trucks and trained fire professionals there, no matter how big your extinguisher is. So you can see there's quite a difference between these two extinguishers. The larger one is the one that I keep in my vehicle because it's going to be what I use for a car fire or a truck fire or things like that. Now it'll also work in a house, but it's just a BC extinguisher, so it doesn't really do normal combustibles very well. So, and then this little guy, this one is just designed for you to put on the shelf. They say they're good for 3 years. You don't have a gauge. You don't have a way to check it. You don't have a way to ensure that there's still pressure in here. So I've actually been playing with this guy, and it looks just the same, right? So it does have an expiration date. I just bought it, and it says it expires 01/07 of 26. So that, you know, this is 2021, so about 5 years. But if it doesn't have a gauge, they're not my favorite. So when you discharge an extinguisher, you want to be about, well, as close as you can comfortably be. Simple as that. If your comfort level and mine are going to be completely different. My comfort level is I'm going to be, you know, if it's a desk fire, if it's something that's small enough that I'm going to fight with a portable extinguisher, I'm going to be pretty close. You may not be, but you want to try to be within 5 to 6 feet away. You're going to pull the pin. We're going to use the word pass, P-A-S-S. You're going to pull the pin. You're going to aim the nozzle at the base of the fire. You're going to squeeze the handle. Remember, the top part is the handle. You're going to squeeze the handle, and you're going to sweep side to side over the base of the fire. Well, that's not always the exciting part of the fire. Sometimes the flames that are shooting up towards the ceiling are the exciting part. That's not where you need to put your extinguishing agent. You need it to be down on the fire itself. Pass, pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Sweep side to side and advance through the fire, starting closer to you, and sweep side to side and go through the fire until it's out, or you're out of extinguishing agent. At that point, you back away from the fire. You don't turn your back to this enemy. It'll eat you. You back away from the fire and then leave. Pretty easy. So I have this little guy here, which somebody's going to call the police, I'm sure. This is that extinguisher. And you can see that it's only working a little ways away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another video and I'm going to show you on the ground, and we're going to use a spot on the ground as our fire, and then we'll coat it with this extinguisher. All right, so there's our fire, and we're pretty close, and we're just going to sweep from side to side. So you see that extinguishing agent kind of coating it a little bit. Well, that's what it's supposed to do. That coating is what sits on the fire and puts it out. So one freaked out person later. So here you go. This is the extinguisher I think you need to have in your kitchen at the very minimum. Bigger the better, but you have to be able to pick it up and use it. And so this is several pounds. This discharges for about 10 seconds. You notice how long that little extinguisher went. This is different. This one has a lot more oomph and a lot of powdery stuff, where that other extinguisher had more of that gel. So this is what you need. Now this one is only an A and B, or a B and C fire for flammable liquids or energized equipment. If you can get an ABC, it's better. But this is a good kitchen extinguisher. For your shop or for your barn, I would get an ABC that was bigger than this. Get a 10-pound, that's what that other one was. A 10-pounder, and it's got a hose on it, where this one you have to point the nozzle. The other one has a hose that you can sweep side to side. So even if you can just carry it to the fire and set it down, you still have the ability to use it. There's so much more about fire extinguishers. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll try to post some links down below to some other good references. But smoke alarms, carbon monoxide detectors, fire extinguishers, not only are going to save your and your family's lives, but they're going to help save your property. You need to get out and get away. If an extinguisher doesn't work, particularly if you buy like a 10-pounder or a 20-pounder, if it doesn't work, you need to have already called 911 or have someone else doing it, and you need to get out of the area, because it's you need a fire truck. That's what they're for. Thank you guys so much for watching. I could really go way in depth, and I'm trying not to. I know this has been a long video for it's been kind of a long series, so I hope that you weren't getting bored. All your questions are important to me. Let me know what they are, and I'll address each one of them. If I don't in a video, I'll at least do it in a comment. Thank you so much. Be safe, and let's get ready.